We'll go first question to Doug Smith with the Toronto Star.
Mr. Stauskas, how are you these days?
I'm good, Doug. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks very much for asking. What I guess the big question is, what do you see to get out of a season with the 905s and in the G League?
Well, I think it's just a great opportunity, for this group to come together and play and get better. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world right now, but I just feel like we're fortunate that the NBA and the G League was able to kind of put this bubble together and give us an opportunity to play. And obviously, with the NBA kind of going through what it's going through and, teams postponing games and missing guys due to COVID, I think there's definitely going to be a lot of tension on the G League this year and, kind of presents a good opportunity for a lot of us to showcase.
Was that the primary reason that you decided to stay in Mississauga or in the G League this year rather than explore Europe, for instance?
Yeah, for sure. I played in Europe last year, and for me, the goal has always, been to play in the NBA. And I'm just grateful for, the 905 giving me this opportunity. But yeah, I just felt like this was a great opportunity to showcase and, potentially get back to the league.
Thanks very much, Nick. Appreciate it. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thanks, Doug.
We'll head now to Steven with Sportsnet.
Hey, Nick. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
I was just wondering, did you specifically target, kind of joining the 905, when there's word about this kind of designated veteran, this designated veteran roster spot kind of popped up in the G League for this season? Did you specifically target playing for, I guess, your suitable hometown team?
Yeah, I think there was mutual interest there, and like I said, just grateful that they've given me this opportunity to come here and play for them, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm just excited. I'm excited to get back on the court and play. For me, I was in Europe last year, and I had surgery on my knee in February, so it's been a full year since I've kind of been on the court playing games, and that's just the main thing for me. Just wanting to get back out there and play.
And you mentioned the surgery. I'm just wondering, how are you feeling? Are you back to full strength, or do you still, is there still kind of kinks you to work out there?
No, I'm back to full strength now for sure. The surgery definitely was very successful, and kind of happened about a year ago. So I've had plenty of time to rehab and recover from that. So definitely feeling good now.
That's great to hear. Thanks a lot, Nick.
Thank you.
We'll head next to Aaron with SI.com.
Hey, Nick. Thanks for doing this. Following up a little bit of what Doug asked, I'm wondering if the pandemic played into your decision to, I guess, sort of come back to North America or potentially come home if you didn't want to be overseas during a global pandemic.
Yeah, 100%. There was a lot of things that kind of went into that decision. I got married in August of this year, and there was a lot of, going back to Europe was definitely an option. And it was tough for me though. A lot of those teams in Europe were starting back up in August, and, I had just finished getting married. And at that point was still, I felt like I still wasn't fully recovered from my surgery. And so I just felt like, between the pandemic, between, the rehab process, getting married, it just didn't make sense for me to kind of, move myself back, overseas and kind of go right back into a season. So even more reason why I just felt like this was such a good opportunity to come in here and play for this team.
Sure. And I wanted to ask you about the Ignite team. Probably some more eyeballs on G League games this year, especially when you guys play them. What do you think of that idea? And are you looking forward to play some kids, maybe beat up on some kids?
To be honest, I'm not too knowledgeable about that team and who's on there, but just in general, I think it's great that the G League has presented this opportunity for these kids coming out of high school and giving them an alternative route instead of going to college. I feel that players coming out of high school should have the choice. It should be up to them on what they want to do. I don't think they should be forced to go to college. So I think it'll be a cool experience for them, but also for us, I'm looking forward to seeing the kind of the talent level that team has and what kind of young prospects they're dealing with.
Do you feel like you really matured at Michigan?
100%. For me personally, I wasn't, coming out of high school, I wasn't ready to play professionally. No chance.
Sure. Thanks, Nick.
But I mean, I'm not saying others aren't. For me personally, just physically, I feel like I wasn't ready. I was still in a child's body at that point. But I know there's other guys who are just more physically mature and have the athleticism to make that leap.
Thanks, Nick.
No problem.
Head now to Andrew with Raptors Republic.
Hey, Nick, nice to meet you. And he said, your return to North America is going to be a treat. He said, a Euro stint can actually be somewhat refreshing, even though I know you had the surgery in February. Do you feel refreshed at this point? Do you feel ready to make that next leap back to the NBA?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, the NBA has always been the goal for me, and going overseas, it was a humbling experience, and there was pros and cons, but I definitely took a lot away from it, and I feel like it helped me mature, it helped me grow as a person and as a basketball player. But I'm definitely as hungry as I've ever been to be in this position and to get back to where I belong. So, now that I'm, got that surgery, took care of my body and feeling healthy again, I'm just ready to attack this opportunity.
And I was wondering, you seem to be really close with TJ McConnell. He's someone who's also been on the NBA bubble for the earlier part of his career. Now he's sort of more established. Has he had any inspirational words for you in terms of this road back to the NBA that you could share?
TJ and I are always, we're always in touch. We're always in contact. He's, to this day, probably one of my closest friends I have. And he's just always been super encouraging. Anytime I'm, doubting myself or feeling down, he's always there to, just give me some encouragement and help pick me back up. He always reminds me of, the work that I've put in and, how talented I am, and just tells me to keep pushing forward and keep chasing my dreams. And, if anything, it's not even something he has to say. It's more of, his story that, even I still gain inspiration from, just looking at how he was able to make a career in the NBA when it looked like he wouldn't be able to. It was all just, hard work, perseverance, and dedication that's still, keeping him around right now. So, definitely helps to have those guys around just for encouragement and almost as role models. Just seeing him, be so successful, it's definitely it's encouraging.
Thanks, Nick.
No problem.
Circle back to Doug Smith.
Yeah, Nick, one thing you said about Europe being a humbling and a learning experience, through this whole trip with Europe, getting married, a bunch of NBA teams, Milwaukee camp, what have you learned about yourself?
Oh, that's a good question. One of the things that I've tried to work on over the last couple of years, it's still a work in progress, but I feel like it helps me in a pretty positive way, is just, realizing that basketball, it's not who I am. It's just something that something that I'm good at and something that I do, and just kind of not putting, my self-worth all on the basketball court. And in the past, I've done that. In the past, I've kind of, the way I feel, the way I think about myself is all dependent on how I'm playing. And obviously, if you do that, there's so many ups and downs throughout, the course of a season or career that, it'll drive you a little bit crazy. So that's the main thing that I think this whole experience has taught me, is that, there's a lot more to life than just basketball. And just always counting your blessings, just being appreciative of, the fact that I'm married, I have a wife, I'm healthy, I have an amazing family and friends, a great support system. And just reminding myself of those things, I feel like it helps me just approach basketball with a different mindset and maybe with a more clear mind than I had in the past.
That's great. Thanks very much, Nick. Appreciate that very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Nick, got two more for you. We'll head to Amy with NBA TV Canada.
Hi, Nick. Thanks for your time. Just really quickly, I know you guys have only been in camp for what, like a day or two now, but some Zooms. What are your first impressions of this group of guys?
I think we got a great group of guys, and coaches, talked about it a lot with us, but he keeps saying how, he's just impressed with the character of our team and all the individuals. And I don't think we have anyone who's selfish or, in it for the wrong reasons. And, I think we're hoping that in the long run, just our character, our hard work, our dedication to the game, it will show on the court. And just, through Zoom sessions that we've had during quarantine, I've gotten to know our guys a little bit more. And I truly believe as well, we have a good group of guys who are all on the same page. And, I'm excited to get to, know them a little bit more on and off the court. But so far, just from a couple of days of camp, I think we're on the right track.
As a veteran, I know this is a great opportunity for you. We've already talked about that. A lot of eyes on the G League. But what impact do you want to leave with the experience you have with this group?
For me, I think it's a good opportunity to be a little bit more vocal. Obviously, I'm not sure if I'm the oldest on the team, but definitely have the most NBA experience. So I feel like, maybe an opportunity for me to step outside my comfort zone and take a little bit more of a leadership role, which I'm not as much used to over the last couple of years. So I think that'll be fun for me. It'll be a new opportunity to kind of, mentor some of the younger guys and just be a little more vocal. It'll help me grow, and I feel like it'll help the team grow as well.
Last question. Everyone knows you're a great shooter. Do you think this truncated schedule would actually help a guy like you in terms of just the rhythm and just like literally it seems like every other day you guys are going to be playing basketball games?
Yeah, definitely. I haven't really looked at the whole schedule, but I heard we have a lot of back-to-back. So definitely a lot of games in a short period of time. So, hopefully we get off to a good start and we can kind of just get ourselves in a good rhythm and then build off that. But yeah, as a shooter, if you have a couple of games in a row where you're really shooting the ball well, I think that's very easy to kind of carry on moving forward and have that translate to the next game and next game and next game. So hopefully that's the case here in the bubble.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Nick, on a positive, you are not the oldest. We'll close with Steven from Sportsnet.
Hey Nick, just one more here for me. But you spoke about like these kind of like little learnings, these little lessons that you learned along your journey along the way. Like how has each of these little lessons kind of, or how will they help you kind of reach your ultimate basketball goal here, which is obviously to make it back to the NBA?
Well, I think one thing that has definitely changed for me is just having a greater appreciation for, one of those jobs in the NBA. And I'll be the first to say that there was a number of times over my 5 years in the NBA where I truly took that position for granted. Only 450 jobs in the world. And, just sometimes going through personal struggles or, not playing as well as I wanted to, I took it for granted and really didn't cherish those moments. Every time I stepped on the floor, I didn't cherish it as much as I will moving forward. And I just think the last couple of years for me, just giving me a different perspective where when I do get back, I think mentally I'll just be a lot more appreciative of the opportunity. And I think in turn, it'll just make me play that much harder.
So was that just because, like you were kind of like a younger kid at the time and you just didn't know any better?
Yeah, I think so. And I think just being, being a lottery pick and have everything happen, just having success at a young age and then kind of just getting used to that almost, just kind of expecting that and, just expecting things to work out all the time. And when you go through some failures and when you face adversity, I just feel like it humbles you. And obviously you live and learn, and it just gives you a different perspective of things. And I think over the last couple of years between just things off the court and, my failures on the court, I feel like I've learned a lot and it just helps me approach the game with a little bit of a different mindset now, I think.
Thanks so much for the answer, Nick. It's very, very thoughtful. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's all we got for you, Nick. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.